아래 나는 예 경수 지게 참여가 평양주로 당보 저상야는 나를 딜레스.
Firstly, just to say welcome to all of you retreatants, and lovely to see you on for this retreat.
나는 먼저 내내기 다 지게 먼저 저상 지금 지소나리아 내가 직다 말아 지고래 저상다 된다 가르스네 먼저 디기주야다 동아세게 된다야 안지게 다시 지금 저기 니네야 내가래야 되게 저상다 소소히 디기주야다 동아세게 된다라 얘기 요바데 세고래.
All of us are similar at a fundamental level in wanting to experience only happiness and to be freed from all problems and difficulties. And this deep wish is what motivates all that we do. So every activity that we do, not just here, but throughout our regular lives in society, all these various activities come down to our trying to achieve happiness and overcome problems and difficulties. This is our underlying motivation.
제사다 마주기 디규주야다 동아세계 된다래야 지금 레갈리고 가세미 팀다 팀비트네 레갈리고라 가시야 지금 팀다면 팀바 안고모고야라 소바당 초점지야라 소바 되네기 안데 지금 레갈리고 디샤사 디규된다 소소히 디규주야다 동아세계 된다리고래 안데 지금 마주기 대사 제가 편집 먹을 마게 야다 통다 통신바 디즈이네 안시 소소기 디규주야다 동아세계 된다라 디 지고래 제가 디네자 만주 최념의 제와세야 돼야 다 디규주야다 동아세계 된다 지고 저사 다 가르쳐베네 아주기 미다 심전 누로다 저사 가르쳐베네다 만주기 디로하다 디규주야다 동아세계 된다래야 안도 시거로 bên 참점 줘야라서 받아 직도 실링가 당아 줘야 저사 디규주야 된다지고 저도 섬다베는 만주 내가 야보다 지게 내가 야보 멤버 가르쳐비네 직 최제비나 가르쳐비나 저사 된다라 미유디 가르치는 디규주야다 소수기 디규주야 안에 소수기 동아모야 동아세게 된다라 제리거라 디는 안주 저사 세우래.
This underlying motivation, it is what leads to every activity every being ever engages in. And if we take an overview of the general activities in society, most people are engaging exclusively in legal activities, and their motivation for whatever activity this is to achieve happiness and overcome problems. And even those who engage in illegal activities of various types, their underlying motivation is the same. And whilst we like or try to be ethical at all times, people often engage in unethical behavior. They may deceive others, take advantage of others, and so forth. There too, the motivation, whether one's behavior is ethical or unethical, is to achieve happiness and to overcome problems. And whether people are engaging in joyous activities such as going on holiday or being with friends, or if they're engaging in destructive activities such as violence, whether it's between nations or between communities or in the home, the underlying motivation remains the same. And for this, one doesn't need to be religious or not. One doesn't even need to be a human, because it's the same for animals. Everything that beings do is directed to the achievement of happiness and the overcoming of problems.
만주게 디규주에 될어야 안지게 치 튕기기 토네 다 디규주고 차고라 만주게 사야동야 알르르 최대지야 두로다 맨나 튕기 토네 치 튕기 토네 디규주고에 직 차고래 강아세다 디규주에 치 튕기 토네 사야 직용으로.
One and the most common technique or method by which people strive to engage in or achieve happiness is through making use of the physical, the material world. So through having various pleasures and comfortable circumstances to enjoy financial security and so forth.
나 삼류 토네 다 디기 주야지다 근데 동아 세야지 탑람 강아 세야지 탑람 나 삼류 단에 주나지 용거래.
And the second technique is through taking care of our mind, transforming our very way of thinking. And through this technique, one also tries to achieve happiness and overcome problems and difficulties.
디네 자당 지소 나라 다데 려가치에서 대시 먼저 셔봐 디게 차상하다 치 튕기 토네 안데 지금 맞아 디기 주야 동아시아에 지고래 제상한테 지소 걸로 좀 돌아야 디라지고 와다 치 튕기 주탕 데네 전 동아시아에 데네 강아시아다 지소 강아시아 랑이 제게스 강아시아 튕기 데네 주고래 내가 데네 주고래 시간 데네 장고래 데네 제나 강아시아 두래 동아시아 두고래서야디 아주 지속을 롭종다 아니 지속에 내가 되게 세상 지 튕기게 더네 아니 강아시아에 되게 주사디 이바자 이래 이나다 디가서 삼로 나래디 지 튕기 야고 지어나 디게 튕기 동아다 디기 푸수소 주투그를 섬걸 때 있는 디 주투그에서는 주투야요 말에
In society, the overwhelming focus in terms of how to achieve happiness and overcome problems is through taking care of our material world. So through improving our material conditions, altering our material conditions, we hope to achieve happiness and have less problems and difficulties. And this is a focus of society from when we were very young in terms of the education we initially received, right through to today. Our focus and the focus of society is in terms of taking care of or focusing on the material world in order to overcome problems and achieve happiness. But it is also now ever more widely recognized, although not yet at a deep level, that even when one has excellent material conditions, one is still not happy. One still experiences problems and difficulties.
네네. 나 기회주셔야 되는 아주 나 삼류 토네 동아시아나 디기 주비야디 삼로 나리아 삼로 따나 지바다 마리바 가르요레서 아주 삼로 나리아 삼로 따나 지바다 마리바디게 바 예와치 하고 와지 삼로 마리바디 바 매버스 삼로 야보디 지바디 수 삼로디 야네 야도 비주 따 공진에 야게 따지 내 삼류 토네 디기 주야 때 기회주셔야 돼 차려래 제산당도 디기 푼수 소보 주야다 강아 탐지에서 투야디 나삼리 되네 다 삼다위 도네 아니 직대기 주변 동아시아디 탑람디 약쇼이 말이다.
And this we recognize is true in that there is no one and nowhere where there's a level of material comfort that leads to a life free from problems, suffering, and difficulties. This doesn't exist. No one has ever achieved that. But by pursuing the second method, which is by changing our way of thinking, having that as our primary focus, developing our habituation to wholesome, virtuous ways of thinking, and through doing so through meditation, and also through meditation, breaking our habituation to harmful, self-destructive ways of thinking, this is a far more effective method to transform our experiences and thereby achieve happiness.
데니기 다 삼루단 토네 디기 주해도 동아 세다디 덤바선 유즘된 디기 고런기 롭종제 냠용의 토네 다 데니기 토네다 삼루두스타나 디기 용도 동아 차상 세두고도 삼루된지 다나디 삼루디기 강아 동아야데 그 강아테 라진이가 강아테 디리 데니기다 삼루 토네 삼루단의 토네 하나 저기 디기 주다 동아 세디 상유즘된 디기다 두시드 제게 가신 거죠. 송요래 그런 게 냠내제 냠용을 토네 마절이야 아니 마sem전 야 동아시아의 디기 주야기도 달라 특제 원기도 신 송샤바래 데네 송샤바데 가신 거죠. 바디 나데네 기실라의 통백이 수 돌듀신 수 더나 인보지게 수 뒤시네 아니 지게 도시는 저기 삼로 다타게 냠내제 삼리 토네 도시는 냠내제 당이 바디 로저 지기마 지기에 나네 지기에 계획이 나는 뒤시는 또돼 제배 직지 뒤뒤 유용시 단다디게 배 맛이 야친 보여봐 이거 삼나 다다디 도시네 마 이제 손샤규지 디네자 이런 거는 더 쉬어야지 대 로저 지기마 디든 마 쉬제 디고라는 거 삼나 삼다나데 냠내지야디 디고 쉬어야다
Buddha Shakyamuni, 2.5 millennia ago, taught based on his own direct experience how to achieve happiness. And his focus was entirely on transforming our way of thinking. And because transforming our way of thinking is the most effective method to experience lasting happiness and to overcome problems and difficulties. And Buddha Shakyamuni, over many decades, taught extensively on exactly this, how to transform our way of thinking and thereby experience ever more happiness and ever fewer problems and difficulties. And he did so with a motivation to be of great benefit to others. He was merely sharing what he himself had achieved, and his motivation for sharing this was to ease the suffering of others. And now, many centuries later, the great Tibetan master Langri Tangpa, he composed this text, the 8 verses of mind training. It's a very brief text, just 8 verses, and it presents a summary of many other teachings of the Buddha, which are focused on, enable us to develop a healthy, a virtuous way of thinking. So this brief text is what we're going to look at together over these few days.
아니마 나당보 직디디레 다니 심전 탐제라 이신노르 레라베 된쇼 주베 삼바이 다도 제버 짐버쇼스.
Come to the first verse. I, for the sake of all sentient beings, who are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem, and with the thought to accomplish the supreme goal, will at all times hold them as precious.
제사당 아주 삼로딜 나리아 삼로 약쇼디 다 잠니제다 장주 셈세디게 제거래 제가 데네자 디나 아주 장주 셈세딜이야 군습 장주 셈나 돈남 장주 셈세디 예월 마소네 체원 이용거래 군습 장주기 셈나 돈남 장주 셈세디 이용거래 제가 다디 디나마 다디 딜로주 치니 마티에 송야디 다 데네게 장주 셈기 남샤데 송거래 삼바상보 디가도 라신 이가레 디기 푸소소보 주투야게 삼로디 다 장주 셈 디냠나 저거래스 제사다 장주 셈들이야 군도 장주 셈나 돈다 장주 셈세 니요래스 원도시네 니네다 돈음 장주 셈세 군도 장주 셈세야데 나마스님데 돈음 장주 셈세 돈용어서 되게 캠바도 송거와 제사디 직지게 나로 직지 당부 뒤디게다 군도 장주 셈 요거슈거래 직지 단계바 타마디게다 돈음 장주 셈 요거슈거래 제자 디네자 디기 다 데마당 군도 장주 셈 요거슈게 지가 당부디 두스야.
The emphasis in this text is on the cultivation of 2 exceptionally beneficial minds, that of love and compassion, and developing love and compassion into bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, in English, the mind of enlightenment. Bodhicitta can be divided in different ways. One is into the 2, conventional and ultimate bodhicitta. Conventional bodhicitta is the focus of the first 7 verses. The 8th verse is where the wisdom realizing emptiness is conjoined with conventional bodhicitta, and therefore it is called ultimate bodhicitta. So when the wisdom realizing emptiness is conjoined with bodhicitta, that bodhicitta is then suitable to be called ultimate bodhicitta. But in brief, the overall focus of this text is on bodhicitta, which has these 2 types, conventional, which is presented in the first 7 verses, and the 8th verse presents ultimate bodhicitta. And bodhicitta itself is attained through the development of love and compassion.
다니 심전 탐제라 이신노레 레라베세디 다 심전 다니 스데 소소한 베네 다 기실 라네 타고 그런 게 두스냐 마치게 안 심전 탐제랴 안지게 이신노레 라베게 삼 다지 두시네 냠네 지기 예시거다 데네게 당아줄레 두시네 송거레.
The first 2 lines. I, for the sake of all sentient beings, who are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem. I is the very first word in the text, and it's written by Langri Tangpa, so that would refer to him. And he's saying how he values all sentient beings, seeing them as being of greater value than even a wish-fulfilling jewel.
on is that then Dani city that Ishilara Pokoronga Dani is Dima said that answer that made in the Chigu Council in the Chiwari Sagiti Danis and you doing more in the ma.
So whilst the author would have, who composed this would have written I in relation to himself, the way to listen to Dharma teachings is to receive them as personal instruction from the author for oneself. So, for example, myself, who's teaching this text, I take this I to be about myself, and each of you should take the I to be about yourselves. So, therefore, receive the text as personal instruction.
And the that's Simjan Tamjelaya, Ishinobole Lavares, Ishinobole Labigi, and the Dushin Lavare. The Inzada, Simjan Dushin, some down for his Ishinobole Lavig, some down for his.
His very first statement is explicitly stating that how we should value beings, that I value them even more than a wish-fulfilling gem, seeing them as of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem.
Delia, that in some dana, Geshe Jataru, do Shungdua, Simjan Tamjelia, and the carrot Dawarshine, Dasuri. Dandala, Ishinobule Lavas, Ishinobu said, then Jidang and the Dumsidi, Ishinobu said, Beneda, Chuda, Sada, the Nigi Nalolia, Novo Richi or Esiorda, the Nigi Nobody. That the nigger two lands at some Suge to Chena and Jeven Anzuli Bechi Gasuri in Pincher that in a Yahungri order. Damazo how Musu by the Damazo how great the San Vegeta did, said down Dorje Palala so body, that is nobody Chagor, what is nobody. Ding Anzulia and Bishimbu Chagor is no said, Delia Jashan Yahudua.
The first line. Key term there is this word all. So it's relating to all sentient beings, not just some, but all without exception. Then how does Langri Tangpa value them as being of even greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem? So that needs a little bit of explanation. What is this wish-fulfilling gem? So if we think of gems or jewels in the world, these are well known. We can think of gold or diamonds. And these are highly prized, greatly valued by beings, and for a specific reason. They are of great use. If one has an abundance of gems, of gold and diamonds and so forth, then this, due to its material value, it can be put to excellent use.
Denegi Serdan Doji Palamdiki, Yosa Kawa Yorosene, Sadan Doni Parali Yudirwada. The do Shashavena and do Shavena, and do the Payas Kayamarada. Ruada do cause Korongi, Chikmolia, Pemasbiki, Chipeji Chimbu Yuvarete, Manzuki Pejamata was a hammer do Shashavene, and then Nazili Pandos Kayamar, Pejat Yomarwa. Then Anzuki 2 Lenche, 2 Len, the Zangwa Sue. And do some bishop down by the Dipa, Jong Yada, and Gensha Suyala, do shit so by the nigger Zombaina, Della Dine Anzuki, Twinking, we wrote that Rane, Dine Anzuki, Kampan Yohoya, and the Jimotra Yohoya, and Zilinga Tanga Joya Lasobada, so you can mention Giala Sobada, and the Shenlia, Pamica, Shenlia, Robochia Sobada, Chasan di Bishop down by the Della Dine Anzulia, Zambulia, Jidinalia, Gangasia down, Pandoria, Mambush catching with Jitugorwa. The names of Korea is noble, said zero, nobles, bets, nobles, Bemasi, Rangla, Pando Chimbu Yudiga, Za Chimbu, Sinai, Manzolo, Goya, Gachimbu, Za Chimbu, Pando Chimbu, yes. Is that it? More the initiate go, Sana, Shashabana, and Zudushinago, reading of the Beju Pandos Kayamarwa, in a Mazu Le, Samos, Deniba Beju Tang Jedelia, Beju Tamba in Della Dina Anzulia. Twingy Mambura Digida, Dungas, Garsore, and the Gangase, Mambu Gangase to Gore, Shanley, Pandomo, Drew to Gore. Chesa, Dinezada, is she in Ovosati, Dinis Urada.
Gold and diamonds are naturally found usually in the earth, or gold can also be found in waterways. So when they are under the earth or in a waterway, they are really of not much benefit at all. But once they are mined, then their purpose can be achieved in that through the wealth created through mining gold and diamonds and so forth, through the wealth that is created, lives of many beings are transformed. But for lives of beings to be transformed by gold and diamonds and so forth, that wealth, or that value rather, needs to be recognized, and not merely recognized, something that needs to be done, some action needs to be taken. In this case, they need to be mined, processed, and sold. So therefore, the way then to understand a wish-fulfilling gem is that through gems and jewels and so forth, when one recognizes where they are and sees their value and takes action to mine them, then one's wishes can be fulfilled due to the attainment of great wealth. So this then is the way to understand this term, wish-fulfilling gem.
제사 되니기 너버디게 되니기 너버디게 가지고 배자 침부지네 배 삽서제 따고게라 소바데 되니 비슈지네 저 가르소리 샤서리네 띵부지 샤다 지금 말아야 된다는 식으로 자 침부지네 배주 그 기침부 슈지는 야고로 와다 루앙 주신 너버디.
And with jewels, we know if we have them, we need to take care of them. We need to place them somewhere safe. And people who have jewelry at home, they will be very aware of where it is and that it is somewhere safe. They know it's something of value and needs to be looked after.
제가 되네기 너무 딜레 아주고 샘전 탐제디 딜레 하바리에서 왔다. 자 침부 맞을 판도지 샘전디 딜레 하바리에서 왔다.
Here what is stated is that sentient beings are of even greater value than gems. Not similar value, but greater value. And not just some beings, but all beings are of greater value than gems.
다심전 남제진 너 대소래 라바래라 요된 섬노 나래 간데스 라바래 섬그레 베네 갸소나리아 심전 다 말아요 와다르와 나소지 장래 대바죠 심제 릭미타바 아니 망부 빠도메 바스 네 갸소나리아 쇼주에 되버래 디멘비게 사강리아 아니 심전 릭타 말아 빠도메 바 쇼주에 되버래 안쪽에 통화요 마통화요 저 유니메 대 망부여 봐 나 미네 미빠도메 바 망부래 네, 아주를 저 여기 미디 미하시지 마도 매대로 왔다. 제가 되네서 심전 탐지 이신 노블에 하바 안주를 판도 가려요 그랬을 때 야소나를 예디게 심전 보장을 대봐 식미도 빠도메 봐 예디게 사강을 예디게 심전 장을 대봐 식빠도메 봐 예디게 당 안주기 마통화 되니게 대성화도 통화시 통실수기 봐 예바지 당 안주 마통위기 안지게 둔주의직 망보 사rik 망보시 우주여로 왔다. 제가 안는 아주 림보체 세다도리 팔라를 하바레서 때 간슬 하바차리 디송한들 가는 판도 연구를 선배기서 삼로 연구로 왔다.
So this expression that all sentient beings are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem, this is really contrary to our usual way of thinking, or the way of thinking in society. Because firstly, when we take this, all sentient beings, so it refers to not just humans, but animals too. So every being with consciousness, or every sentient being, so all beings throughout the world systems. So these we can think of, for example, in the oceans and rivers, just how many beings are there. It's an inconceivable amount. Then those who are living on or under the earth, again, and further inconceivable amounts. Then we take how many we actually in this life have had an interaction with, a relationship with. It's really a minuscule amount, primarily of humans and a few animals that we have some kind of relationship with. But the entirety of all beings is an immense number. And here it says, all of these beings, not just those that we get on with, not just those that we like, but all of them equally are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem. So how can this be? It seems it's very contrary to what one would generally think.
되네게 진노블에 하방한 소리야 판도 치와 임바데 간스 시에스베 삼로된 시용고래 지사신 제가 당한도 삼다베네 대시 이신 노보 도시 팔란의 시르디 산나로야 도나 산나로 샤샤베네 만주를 판도가요 말레스 수련지 베스당베네 판도신 부차기도 디나시 다 심정 코롱 다 동아냐 제다 다 말여 두스네 직샤샤베네 안도스티 믹세기 판도스가요 말당한도래 만주 요 말와 다 되네게 또 삼로 땅베는 가지고 삼로 땅시 두시네 삼 땅시 다 심정도 되네데 요바여래 제가 심정 대로 찾아다 라야 빼지 진침보레스 그진침보레스 삼땅고 예제래.
To understand how this is so, we take the analogy that gold and diamonds and other jewels in the ground are of really no value, of no benefit, unless action is taken, that they are recognized where they are and they are mined. So too, we need to take action in the sense of transforming our way of relating to sentient beings, coming to recognize why they are actually of greater value than even jewels. And it's by coming to recognize why they are of greater value, through coming to appreciate them deeply, that they do become of great value. That is the process that we need to go to, similar to mining, that the process to go to bring value to our relationship with beings. So what's being presented here, and certainly will follow too, is about our way of thinking, coming to recognize where our way of thinking is, and the benefits of transforming it in a particular way.
삼로 가르치 땅고래세디 대랑리에 심전디게 차상랑리 진침보다 거리침부인 바데 삼다이도 다등한도 하고리게 레라 삼다베나 베나 아주게 지게 베네 오마이네 수비 지금 뭔고 정절에 지 베시다 사야도에 베시던 거 디차상 심전에 되는 버중도 되는 거라 베네 심전에 되는 사야도에 지금 뭔고 심전에 되는 거 진짜 심전디게 매나 심전 지술에 되는 콘솔에 되는 대지 중앙장을 저기 초고를 해야 다. 다 심전 따도 지금 망고 레가랭 망고 지술을 때네 안 저기 비싸야 돼라고 세상 컨트롤을 때는 용거래. 세상 컨트롤을 때는 용마서 컨트롤 빼면 생각 줄에 비슈 첨보다 고고 첨보 쉬우지래서. 다고 장을 고야기 튕긴 사야 동야 rik 망고 지 심전을 때네 빼네 심전을 때네 다만 지금 오마이 릭당 셰이 릭당 되네게 아니 지금 장지를 소바다 체리를 소바되네 망고지 심전을 되는 거 생기 제발 되네 변는 알아서 자기가 자야도 찾아 망제 미션다게 제시네 주 대통령 차오라 제가 되네 삼다는 현다 나야라 자야도야 둘로고야 할라사야 최대치 찾아 유한 직디 찾아 시한을 되는 용도도 현 심전을 되는 용도도 진짜 현 심전이 빼알이야 고야기 제시부修리다 하세 제가 대신 아주 세르되게 파 중원의 될때는 비주라고 라네랑이 동아세 디기주야 차거와 디나신 현심절에 되네 소소리에 튕기되게 라고도 제가 심전에 맨날 튕기라야 제가 될때는 용 제가 심전에 현다되게 빼랑을야 예침보지나 고고침보 야호치도 왔으면 되네 삼당 오래지래 어떤 오마다 장지다 되네게 레가레한 다 망고미 망고로 와체 체다 되네게 레가레한 차상이야 되네게 나서지요 와
So to transform our way of thinking, in this instance, it means to transform the way we think about other beings. We need to come to recognize the great kindness that they have shown us and the benefits that their various activities brings to us, whether directly or indirectly. So if we take, for example, what we eat and drink, that comes about due to the activities of others. The clearest example would be milk that we drink. This has come from a living being. It's come from a cow. So that cow's activity has brought us benefit. And not just merely the cow, but there is the farmer and then the entire agricultural industry that is required for that farm milk to be brought to our home. So there's a whole chain of interdependence of beings, various beings, doing their various activities that lead us to, from which we gain benefit. And here we can think, much more broadly means particularly if we take into account animals, so we can think of honey we eat, but also the various kind of foods that we eat that require pollination and so forth. There's this whole chain of interdependent activity across species, so between animals and humans, that their various activities, from that we gain great benefit. We have our food, we have our clothing, our health is looked after through our diet in this way. And whilst the vast majority, if not all of these beings, they are engaging in these various activities without us in mind, nevertheless, through their endeavors, we receive benefit. We are dependent on their labor, on their effort.
Bendigo samdai shen simjen dige be ralia jin chimbo da ye chimbo za chimbo ji tong du delia and be ya hore sha sembege delia samno de semda yebu ji li gore.
Thinking well about this, recognizing that our full stomachs, our health, all of this is dependent on others. This, when you think about this deeply and repeatedly, it transforms how we think about others or how we relate to others. A sense of closeness, a sense of connection will arise within us in relation to others. And just like one will handle gold and diamonds and jewelry with care and with attention, by coming to value and appreciate and developing a sense of closeness towards all sentient beings, one will value them, relate to them with care and tenderness.
Marang dewa goba na shin console dewa kugores ara dunga medio bana jin console dewa dunga dugo mares chesada semjen dese pe chi jin chembore console pe yagulo yagulo ba zata ko dewa dugo re chesa dewa ba nga dewa bana jin console de dewa de dena sembe dewa de temper sho sembe samlo de ye wo jang wo re je.
Here, we've been guided to train our mind to value others. And the method by which to develop the sense of closeness, this recognition of the connection and the interdependence we have with others, is to recognize that we are recipients of their kindness. We are dependent on their kindness. And the benefit, the activities they engage in bring us tremendous benefit. And so through going through this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period, it leads us closer to the recognition that at a fundamental level, we are all the same. We all want to be happy, to have a life freed of problems and difficulties. So when we have developed this sense of closeness and connection with others, and recognize that at this fundamental level, we are all the same, naturally, the wish will arise. In the same way that I want to be free of problems and live in happiness, may others too, may all beings live in happiness, freed of problems and difficulties.
Tangpa Koran jugi Tagore susui misa da nin yudo la sopa jesulya and that nga dewa dewa konzo dewa dugo chesan konzo de dewa de dena sembe samlo du shine yane yando sam na jang gores dene jane nin sem samlo de gyachera da de an sosuge yehor yuba sosuge gyha en jas dunro semja tamje an dewa de dema denber sho sembe samlo de shine jang gores.
When engaging in this meditation, one doesn't start with the intellectual concept of all sentient beings. Rather, one starts with those that one is closest to, one's family, one's loved ones. And engages then in the meditation of recognizing our connectedness with them, our interdependence, our closeness with them, so as to develop a deep appreciation for them. This then leads us to the recognition they, just like me, want to be happy and free of problems. May they be happy. May they be free of problems and suffering. So, and
대지 디주와다 심전의 대화 demba 삼당하 심전 대화 demba 당보랑이 미산 예홀된 심전 탐제 삼다에 고주에 디르바 제스 심전 탐지리 대화 demba 쇼삼다에 당보랑이 미산 예홀다도 삼다되네 대파 장주가도 충선의 바체체의 장에 심전 탐제의 산요 대화 demba 쇼스베 삼다 엔디나신 지과의 심동하다 자와소지데 아는 나중에 이날 동안에 두고 말씀드 파티네 자야데 심지어 탐주 동안에 잡으셔서 삼다이다.
So one starts with one's family, when one has this sense of appreciation and closeness and develops which may they be happy, then one extends that out slowly, eventually, to all sentient beings. Thereafter, one does the same meditation, having now already developed closeness and connection to others, and develops the wish, just like I want to be free of problems and difficulties, may they too be free of problems and difficulties.
Onda delaya jamba kumba de nijo kumba so simja ne je dewa de temper show sembe samlo de jamba so re simja de dunga de jawa show sembe ke samlo de ne ningshi so re dinyo kumba de le jamse kumba so de ne ke samlo de yana yang de tang wu re je re.
So these two meditations are the meditations of cultivating love and compassion. Love is the wish. May all sentient beings abide in lasting happiness. And compassion is the wish. May all sentient beings abide free of suffering. So this is the meaning of love and compassion.
어디니 삼당세의 제일이야 갈등 거든요. 다 semja 탐제 디기도 주의 되는 동안된 자와대양의 탑시치기 semja 다시 대화대 dem바대양의 탑시치기 대장의 semja 탐제교도는 산요 고번 토벌 치기 산요 고번 토벌 쇼 sembe 삼로 땅고 그래서 이 삼로들의 장주 셈시고 그래서
The cultivation of love and compassion then is followed by the development of bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, which is now having developed a genuine wish, may all beings, without exception, abide in lasting happiness, that's love, and free of suffering, that's compassion. I will make that happen. I'm not content merely with this wish. I take it as my responsibility to make sure this comes about. And to actually fulfill that, this intention now, I commit to become the most skilled guide, say Buddha, and lead all beings to enlightenment. So I commit to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. This then is the generation of bodhicitta.
내니기다 삼로지 공고레스 다 삼로타나도 삼당고레스 그래 디 삼로타나 디기 랑예 디기 두그레 랑예 동아세 두그레 랑예 디기 두그레 한 샬레 디기 두그레 샹예 동아세알 판도그레스 디 삼로디 당고레스 제사 랑이 되어 되바이나 디 삼로 당고레 제사 랑이 디기 두그레 랑예 동아세알라 디 삼 당고레 랑이 동아세 두그레스
Engaging in this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period leads to a radical transformation of your own mind. So therefore, benefit comes directly to you. And through the transforming of your own mind leads to benefit for others as well. It leads to you yourself experiencing far fewer problems and difficulties and ever more happiness. And through your interactions with others, benefits them in a similar way.
디니게 삼로디 야슈 체르체르 땅제 디니게 땅이도 안 디게 가르쳐 왔으네 내 디니게 산지오 고번 더야 돼야 남냠된 디기 때문에 툭툭거려야지 제가 디니 된쇼 주바스 된쇼 주베 삼바이 된쇼 시도 된쇼 세야디 네 냠니 초도 주바 산지오 고바스 된쇼 주바 산지오 고바스 제가 이진노를 하비 된 초도 교 이진노벌에 Laba, Chodu Yuba, the Duncho, the San Yukoba is. De some the gelatin and San Yukoba, the Tugres, Duncho Tubas, Tugres.
So in the meditation, then, one develops the mind bodhicitta, the determination to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. And this is expressed in the third line, with the thought to accomplish the supreme goal. The supreme goal refers to the achievement of Buddhahood. And this then shows why, looking at all three lines, all sentient beings are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling jewel, because it's through recognizing that value and taking and recognizing one's responsibility to help others that one will accomplish the supreme goal.
And then Chodo Cuba, San Yukobondi, Asian Noble Habares, Semja Tamji, Asian Noble Habares, Jezada Duncho said that Duncho San Yukobondi, Asian Noble Habare, Carasina, San Yukobo Tobin, Sozor, Duman Sawagin, Nigetina Devan Deva. The end Semjim, bottom Evalia, Pando Jeje, and Semja, Dumasia, Digituala, bottom Eval, Pando Water, Genezada, Duncho, Addition Noble Haba, Chodo Cuba, Dinigi. Dorje.
So again, the reason then why all sentient beings are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling jewel, or you can say are greater value than any position of wealth or status or power. The reason why sentient beings are of greater value than anything else is because it's through recognizing their great value and the subsequent meditations that lead to oneself attaining lasting, stable happiness of Buddhahood, an existence completely free of suffering. And in this entire process from cultivating the recognition of the value of sentient beings to the fulfillment or the achievement of the supreme goal, one lives lives of meaning, whereby one brings great benefit to others.
There's Asian noble said Digidang and the Citizen Digi Julia, Dumasi and Mado Bishop to me, Mado Yomarwa, Benim, Dugi Benjadi. Jezada, Sanjo Goban Tobaina, Sanjo Gobandi, Sosugi, Yamlin Jane, Sosugi, Dunga, Dingi, Dunga Tarchimba, Dunga Lejawada, and the Dingi Dewa Toba Mase, and she has Simja Tamjel, Data, Dewa Chima, the Chima, Tarba, the Tamjiki, go to be Yamlin, but Dinge, Dintuji, Digi, go to Inza, and doing Chotu Yuba, session.
Wish-fulfilling jewels, or all the material wealth and comfort and prestige that the world could offer, this certainly brings benefit, but only in this one life. Whereas the journey towards and the accomplishment of the supreme goal, Buddhahood, leads to lasting, stable happiness, and for oneself, and leads to lives of ongoing benefit for others, whereby one is continuously, life after life, of great benefit to others.
Sanjo Koban, Tobiakin, you Tobarjibi, you and the Samba, and it is noble. Laba getting to somebody carson, Geshe, Semja Taji, Jin Chembo, Samata, and the Semja Tamje, the Tena, Sembi Samata, Semja Dunga, the Tower Show, Sembi Samata, the Semja Tamji, Sanjo Koba, Tobarji, Sembi Samlodi, that doing short to be somebody, some details or somebody.
So that with the thought to accomplish the supreme goal, so just to talk on this word thought. Here, this is this thought or thinking, this reflection that has come throughout. Firstly, recognizing our deep interdependence with others, and that how we are entirely reliant on others, their kindness, and their various activities that bring us benefit. Again, whether it's intentional or not, their activities impact us and we receive benefit from that, thereby developing the sense of closeness and connection with others, where we come to value others greatly. And then we use that to develop that closeness, to develop this recognition. They too, just like me, want to abide in happiness, freed of suffering. May all beings, starting with smaller groups, moving to the larger groups, may all beings abide in happiness. That's a mind of love. may they be free of suffering, compassion, and develop that further into the mind of bodhicitta, whereby one sets out on the journey to become a Buddha in order to lead all beings to a state of lasting happiness, freed of suffering. And that then is how we set about accomplishing the supreme goal.
āndā tātū jebhar dzimbar shō sīdhī, dīnī kī samlō dīnī tāndi simjā tānchī tēwā tā tēnā simjā dungā tā chāwā shō, simjā tamchī kī tūn simjā tā dungā tā chāwā tā ngī chī, simjā tā dungā tā ngī sīgī, tēnsā simjā tā sānyō kōpā tōpar shō, simjā kī samlō tānchī nē simjā lī jebhar dzimbar shō, jebhar dzimbar sēdhī, simjā sēdhī bē, mā sē chīk 인제 semje 대화를 쇼 동안 자와 쇼 제바 좀 디리다 배 자침보다 기에 첨보 되니게 삼다도 제바 좀 봐쇼 제가 되니게 삼바 잠니제 semjel이야 don다라 제바 좀 봐쇼도 semjel이야 잠바다 잠니지 공고를 해서 잠바다 저공 되는 semjel이지 don다산 요고 뭐 토를 쇼스 배 삼바 나도 진 제바이나 나도 제바 좀 봐쇼 제바 좀 봐쇼 되는 냠는 제바 진비 삼로의 냠수 연구구리에서 지산 냠는 제바이나 다도시의 뒤다 남바군도 제 철직 많이 봐 철직이 많이 봐지 모두 이제 산요고 뭐 마토요 봐도 삼로의 장구구리에서
If you're going through these meditations, one will come to now the final line, will at all times hold them as precious. So as one is coming to recognize our interconnected relationship with others, how we receive so much benefit from others, and develop this sense of closeness, and then thereafter develop love and compassion for them, we will start to value others ever more, hold them as dear, see them as precious. So these are the results of reflecting on the kindness of others and then developing love and compassion. And it leads to this expression in the final line of how we will be starting to relate to beings. And with at all times means in no matter what circumstance, in other words, what's going on in my life or how others are behaving, at all times, whomever I am interacting with, I will hold them as precious. They will matter. I will see them as having value, no matter what's going on in my life or what is going on in their life, how they're interacting with me. I will see them as having value and hold them as dear.
나데니게 삼론다 베나 안네 하나를 되기 가능스 용구리 내 동아 가능 세기리 사이 지 여러와다 되네 삼다베나 이 가능 세기리 사이데 삼다베나 당가서 동아 강아 망치 가능 세기리 세네 젤야 콘로사시 안 남사 직시 지 망제 디로와데 지 죄티마서 니티마서 젤야 콘로사시네 콘로게전세 지 소식이 되바데 미팅바 차이도 콘로사시 되니 아랑마 기와샤데 수수마 기와샤 안젤마 기와샤데 되니 용어로와 안에야 현기 젤야 차와체제 너바기 현기 젤라고 먹고야 젤야 축축시야 안에 젤야 통중제야 되니신 토네 안에 지게 강아들이 지게 되니셔야 되는 소소마 기와샤라 마기와샤데 되네샤고 근데 콘로다 되니게 콘로기야라서 봐 젤야는 뇌비 자와지야라서 봐 되네 삼토네 용거로 와다가 저게 강아 용다데 망아지 되는 용거로 와
It's important right at the beginning to recognize or to overcome a doubt we will have. How, through developing this way of thinking, will I myself achieve happiness? This needs to be very clear to us right from the outset. So to recognize how developing this way of thinking, recognizing the interdependent connection we have with others and developing love and compassion towards others, how that will lead to our achievements of happiness, we remind ourselves of how so many of the problems and difficulties we experience come about through our interactions with others, come about through ourselves finding it difficult to get on with certain people or in certain circumstances. And this can come about or can be experienced in so many ways. All too often from how others speak to us. They may speak to us in a very harsh manner, in a rude manner, or they may be dismissive of us, condescending towards us, or their way of acting may bring us harm. or could be something much slighter, but still that really disturbs us, that our wishes and their wishes are not the same. And their wishes then, once again, take precedent. So many of our problems come about due to our difficulty in relating to others, through our interactions with others.
Dene shungore, dene za dang simje tamje dewa de denbar sho, simje dunga lo jawa sho sebi simje le jamba da zewa komba ina, dene ge samlo digi, ane ma chik mishen liya, Geshe shebe ne, chik dige, shen le manyo ba, chik suk ma sheba, ane chik, oda ko dewa yungo, dewa dugo re, dunga dugo ma re sebe samlo yodu, ane pa Geshe di ne, chik suk ma she, Geshe yagbo she ya da, lu yugo ne, jawa yagbo che ya, 제가 dene za, shen le, dene ge, 잠바의 제외 전심제 탐지를 잠바의 제외 삼로도 고명도 디기 샬이야 체류가 유수미고네 샬이야 체외 자와의 가고래 체외 자와의 가고래 체외 자와 가고래 제가 디니게 가야도 안 디니게 안 샬이야 류가기 고네 지금 주변들이야 샬이야 팬베 자와 강투도 제디 용고래 디네자 안에 랑라 안에 세미기 용고다 디네 랑게 샬이야 팬베 자와 주가다 안에 샬이야 안 직 두시네 용구가 세와 맞지바나 소소리야 세메 기워야 소소 기워야 직제 그래서는 한 미션다게 누가 지고 말봐 파 세와 지는 수에 세와 지고로 파 윤지지는 수에 윤지지고로 와 제산디로와 디네자 디네기 소수기 체외 자와도 네베 자와 차상 맞아봐가 소수기 상배 자와 강투도 지연 류가 자와데 된 용고래 디네 제바이나 시행기 소소리야 안녀비게도 용주고래 견주지야 용주고래 안델이야 신기 뿅알리고 어디 미디 야고도 배sem마 상보여 미디 내가 야고 지기도 세비게 소소 뿅아이데 디니게 섬 소소야 미생기 통다이네 야고 통야다 안소수기 도시야다 소수이네 섬는 나라 기고야 디니에 자다 디니게 섬로 상보 도시리 안에 저기 체디 섬 삼다위네 미생기 소소야 지구르체야 뿅아용야 야고 쉬어 지제 소소이네 심이 기고 어디 딩这个判断解突双生别什么的，你基础高啊对不呢？民用的全部要会用通过的，那这彻底怎么去教住的？其实呢，两个考虑这边呢，账目用过的账目，这个是那个是现在这话呢，这位上班没办现在这话的讲把的这话有把是先过好大呀的，先一在呢，你这个超呀了说吧，就用马路，就是两个的进来账目原来的，两个现在开始呢，先两判别什么都教啊用啊去结果，就是这地怎么什么大边呢？按的那个。안절이야 디기용하디스 삼로디 토기 토기 령하게 자와디 야보용야 아니 셴레 티비 자와 방야 셴레 팬베 자와 주용도 온도시네 라레 디기 주야데 강하세야데 핑거레시레
Say, take an illustration. Having done these meditations presented above, repeatedly over a sustained period so that you have some experience of the meditations. Then, when interacting with others, you will feel as you move around in society that whomever you are encountering, you have some connection with them, some relationship with them, whomever they are. And then, let's say, one of these people speaks to you in a way that really is unkind. Maybe they speak to you in a harsh manner, or they're dismissive of you, or they speak to you in a condescending manner. Because of having gone through this training, immediately you'll recognize that their motivation behind how they're speaking to you is that they want to be happy and they want to be free of problems. That's all. They are speaking to you in this manner not because they necessarily see you in a bad light. It's actually not so much about you. It's really coming from a motivation of wanting happiness and thinking that through talking in this way, they will achieve happiness. That's what's going on. It's not about me as the recipient, but it's their wish for happiness. And they're just talking in this manner. So thereby, through having trained and having trained your mind, and thereby being able to relate to what they're saying in this way, you're not taking it personally. Not taking it personally, but also feeling a sense of closeness, of warmth towards them. Your heart remains open. And you can now easily and sincerely respond with tenderness. Not respond in the normal reactive manner, but respond in a way that recognizes that this person before you just wants to be happy. Their motivation isn't to harm you. It's not actually to dismiss you or to put you in your place. Their motivation at a deeper level is just to be happy. And thereby one can respond with tenderness, respond in a way that makes them feel seen and valued and recognized. So through this then, you yourself, throughout this otherwise perhaps aggressive encounter, it was an encounter that led to your heart being filled ever more with love. So your way of thinking, your mental state is one that is perfectly at peace, that's filled with love. And through responding skillfully, you have almost certainly helped ease their suffering. So instead of how one would normally go about in society, that this could lead to conflict, or if not conflict, certainly resentment from your side, instead, your heart is ever more filled with love. This person before you, maybe the situation has been diffused, or maybe their unhappiness has been reduced. So both of you benefits in this way. Also from your side, your confidence in yourself, your self-confidence grows, recognizing your growing skill. And then wherever you go, with a sense of confidence and the sense of closeness, of connection with others, you never feel alone. You rather feel in the company of people that you care for, people that matter to you. Then in this way, your life becomes much easier, much more peaceful, and you recognize that you are having a beneficial impact on others. Then with this growing sense of self-confidence, you recognize that you are living a life of great meaning because of the impact you are having on others too.
semja tamji sanyo ko ba thobar sho sebe jini ge chanchu sem deni ge sambati kombainen chetile ya den shyo ba che an dimase jewa chima ine ya wonde la da mi ko ba thoya da dele nyamne ge jimba tu kon ne ko do chi de ne sanyo ko ba thoya le so su ge chanchu sem ba cha ya an chanchu sem ba deni do syo ya wo ko de sanyo ko ba thoya deni ge jine deni so su ge ding yi donga se ya de ding yi de wa thoya de du syon ko res.
Through training in this way, developing genuine love and compassion for others, and eventually bodhicitta too. Benefits come as is just presented to you in this life, but also through these growing imprints of meditating this way, through becoming ever more habituated to this way of thinking, this will benefit you in lives to come. You'll have these strong imprints of love and compassion, and thereby, from a young age, you will be a loving, compassionate person, and it will be ever easier for you to develop these minds further and further. So in this way, your process or your spiritual journey will continue from life to life, eventually leading to the attainment of the supreme goal, the state of lasting happiness, of Buddhahood.
도송거로 지사당은 좀 배선로 쉬베나 다 점을나리아 배선 망부여데 이내 당은 저기 통초스교 받은 저기 여름 치르고 싶다고 배선 쉬베나 여름 제거로 예만에 안지게 전주 침보 송주 쉬게 되는 게 잠이제 자주 셈냠내 제네된 로바도 매버 두시네 직냠내 제베 인스 염시 송거로 지사되니 냠내 제베나 랑 기와 현래 편바 판도 개침부도 선의 염시 안에 송거 되는 손에 형사자 잠니지 자유심 냠내 제고도 선의 되는 송거래 지사 송바 나시 당한도 삼다베나 근데 여름제 예합쇼르제 내 접주도 폐제 도슈되래 다 현대인나 다 예합쇼르제 접주표서 다 랑이 랑선라에 돈달이야 안지 샤야 바자기 체시디야다 안지 뇌견제 밤로시든 직 뇌견제가 삼롱 중구로와 어디디 겨울식 균형 말다 제자 시한지 예합쇼르에 야잖아 미말이야 세상한테 대화도 Jana Mibor Chempo, Chazan Dewa Deba, Dunga Mido, Jibare, Sene, Denea, Ondusine, and Jeza, Gunju said, and Tsui Jag, some Gune, Mahatin Sawajugo Mares, and Jana Yarmskora similar, and Jig Janjusim be Yaman Jeva, that Digi, Azulia, Cap Chimbo, Pando Chimbo, Jig, Tangan Chedi, Yamlin de Pan Yamji, Chowre, Yam Japan, Yalma, Pechi, Gomba, and the Tasa Lobsang to the nation, Shanley, Pando Chimbo, Yachimbo, Shuji, Yagi, Shutaware. Dimas at that Zembling Gazaka page and Digi Pando Yabochun. Then as other Michasangi, Yamji City, Chikowichi here, and that Yamji Pazo Shira Pimo and Durham Shuna, Michasangi in a Dusutongba Meba, Yamji, Jiga Mangushi, Beg Hana Gowish in a Jiga Yutu. Jega Yama Chasalia, Yamjil Bechi, Yamasho and that Bechi, Semi Galan, Yamasho Sum to Yaya Chagorwa. Just a D. Garrison, Yamjo Korong, Gula Samon, Jammy, Janus, and Yamlinji, Tibu Chagorwa. So the Michasangi Gabo. So Yama Pazo Pedi Gablenda, Michasang Goch and Jigorwa. That Pazo Shira Pematon and Sul, Yimitabar. 상을 주시 매바 두신 제가 용한 데니게던 안데니게 ям지야 칼로브레 나도 지파 셈리야 펜부 차산데 메몽볼레 판도시 우주에 되게 책으로 디네자 디 차산 제보딩 아주 디스티아사 통초수 교바 차려래 진짜 니네 통화도 진짜 디 금체 가르스네 제 자음지 규체타베게다 다 원시 체타베게 말와데 가르스네 다 전시sem바 고 잠니지 자주심 냠네 삼로 디네게 삼로 상보디 냠네 진난고 요바엔사 디기다 밀레시안의 핑고레 소소나 디기요바 시안의 펜바 제침보 요바 미차다 차사게 거부제 유디게데 아주 통수스교바데 베선로 두샤베나 먼저 세워하고도 야 차고래 지난 디 차사 잠니지 자주심 냠네 제베게다 디게 삼로 디기다 가서 디기도야 판도들이
the meditations on love, compassion, and bodhicitta have the kind of benefits that I've mentioned. And there are a number of examples in the world of people who have developed incredible love and compassion within. And there's no example like that of His Holiness, of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. When he speaks about his own daily practice, it's very clear. He meditates on love and compassion every day, and he has been doing so throughout his life. And he's done so on the basis of great texts such as Shantideva's Bodhisattva's Way of Life and so forth. And through cultivating this incredible love and compassion and bodhicitta within, the very focus of his activities has been an expression of love and compassion. So if we look at His Holiness's individual situation, he's a refugee who had to flee his own country, and he's lived the vast majority of his life in exile. Yet, despite his own personal troubles and the hardships of his people, he's never responded with aggression. He's never responded with a call to violence. Rather, his response has been consistent, one of love and compassion. And this response has been has been twofold in that it's a response that is cultivated within. Love and compassion is cultivated through study and meditation, and it's expressed to others, encouraging others in this way, guiding others how also to develop love and compassion. So the impact on him as an individual would be his mind is at peace, and he's living a life that he knows will be a life that is of great meaning because he's able to focus on helping others, both those who have a deep faith and trust in him, as well as just regular people that he meets who are not Buddhists or don't necessarily have faith in him. But nevertheless, we see from either being in his presence or from photographs, we see the impact he has on others. Everyone who's in his company smiles and looks joyful. So he's able to have this impact on others because of these inner qualities he has developed within himself. This is what makes him stand out amongst many others, that in terms of these inner qualities within him. And just merely being in his presence, as many of you would have had this opportunity, you feel that what a remarkable being he is. So this way, he is able to live a life of great meaning and be of benefit to so many because of these inner qualities he has developed within himself. So he is an example, a role model for us to take. Now, seeing the individual benefit that comes, or the benefit that comes to an individual who develops love and compassion, but also the benefit that it brings to the greater community, so to self and others, by developing love and compassion.
Dewa de temper show, Simjan de Dunga da Drawer show, and Simjan Tamsan Yokoban Topper show, Sembig, Samlodi, and the Dushine, Gomguri, Steve Gombaina, and Yamnachoguri, said that Asamno Tangi Tony. Manzo Digi to you are dear, Sosu Dunga said, you are dear, Chesat Sosu Digi to you, Sosu Dunga says, Shelly, a Pando Druge, Samlodi, Dushine, Gom, do the number of Dushin, Yamnach, some Tushane, and some Tankuri, said, don't any with this word.
The summary then of this first verse is to develop the recognition that all sentient beings, so this little word all, it means every single one without exception in every circumstance are of greater value than all the material wealth and status and so forth that any being could hope to achieve. So to come to this recognition, the meditation is to recognize our interdependence with others, our connection with others, that we are not independent, but rather interdependent. We depend on their kindness. We depend on their various activities that both directly and indirectly bring us such great benefits. Developing this so as to value beings greatly. Then, based on that, we develop love for beings, wanting them to be happy. In the same way I want to be happy, may all beings be happy. We develop compassion too. In the same way I want to be free of suffering and problems, may all beings be free of suffering and problems. Develop that further into bodhicitta, and eventually to achieve, have as our objective the accomplishment of the supreme goal. And finally, we have at this point the ambition to hold such an attitude at all times, wherever we go, whoever I interact with, to hold others as dear, to hold them as precious.
That Bendigo Samno Gomia di Anjugula, Samno di Yomers and Zawigi, Zawadi, Shizaru, Yore, Anjugula, Chunju, Yore, that thing Anjugi, Yargeta Chadure, Penanjugula, Simjan Dewa, the Denas and Samno, the Simjan Duan, Javos, Janas and Samno Yorvada, but the Sanyo, Tomna the Yagores and Samno Yorvada. Chizan Samno the Horde Anjula. This some of the Lia, not the Yane and the sometimes Yarget not to go, but the time Yarget Diagi, go up Majumari, and the Chesa, the Niki Yarget Amatuari. Chesa the Penny, Shingless, Medolomas minutes or someone Jovene, you would choose Jovene, Del Churu, the Luru, which is the way of Majana, the Achimbocha, and the Metuasha, Tributaya Kalihawa. Chesa didn't hear the budget, didn't get. Yawaja tell a chuda, Tueda, then you do see. So you are watching the Yawaya Medo Yawasha Yunguru. I didn't say, Manzuna Samnonalia, what I shall they were Juna said some of your hair. Jen do one that Jana said some of your hair. That's some gentlemen, Sanyo was top nas and began some of your water. In a D. Nuba Chamboji are Joyamar. 디 마도와지 가르치는 건도 야네 야도 삼등거 공고 말에 야네 야도 삼마다서 야예 마도와 제가 야네 야도 야네 디크부도 신의 삼등이 등이 삼단 되니게 있다 삼단의 판도 여봐 땅 그비 김제 되네 삼단이 토네 안데 또 되니게 삼로 야네 야도 심 대화대 덴버쇼 선배 삼로 누가다 자워 쇼 선배 삼로 땅이 심지한테 대화대 덴버 누가다랑 이 지기 인세배 삼로 디닝에 심지한 탐지상이고 도발 지쇼 선배 삼로 야네 야도 안데 셈모디 야 슈크처셔 셈줄 마서 슈크처셔 두고 와 슈크처셔도 누베처셔 두고 와 야네 야도 도신 되니게 셈로 슈크처모 주나 되니게 산예 냠는 제발라 안데 강하시라 메디가 산요고 봐 토야리야 교고요 되지 라니 디기 폰선 소보에 주야다 동아 탐지 세야리야 교고용 도에 지하고를 해지 제자디 아주 도신에 안세위 안지를 여바디 땅 안아서리야디 야 공부도 따야 되리 공부도 땅다 그래서 야네 야도 야네는 섬 봐야 되리 고민 되지.
A further point to really say emphatically is do not have any doubts that this is within your grasp. Do not think that this is beyond myself. Do not dismiss your own individual incredible capacity. Everyone here has the seeds of love and compassion within them. And we have experienced them many times in our life when a genuine wish for the welfare of others arises within us. So these seeds exist within us. And these seeds just need to be tended for correctly, and they will grow and blossom and bear fruit. And this opportunity that we have together over these few days, this is an opportunity to tender well to these seeds of love and compassion within and experience their blossoming, experience growing love and compassion and an opening of our heart. To bring this about, it's not particularly difficult in that it just requires repeated and sustained meditation in the way that will be presented. That itself, though, requires familiarity with this way of thinking, and that's what will be presented here. And then an ongoing process of engaging in these meditations, because we are trying, through meditation, to develop a habituation to a particular way of thinking. The way of thinking presented here is to develop a closeness towards others, an appreciation, a valuing of others, and a determination to live a life of meaning whereby we are of great benefit to others. And by doing these meditations again and again, one becomes habituated to this way of thinking. They become an expression of who you are. You become an ever more loving person, compassionate person, wise person. And in this way, you can also be sure that you will be quickly approaching the state of lasting happiness, the state of Buddhahood. So we'll conclude there now for this morning and continue from here this afternoon. And what has been presented now this morning is a summary of the main meditation. The main meditation to develop this closeness towards others and take that further, developing it into bodhicitta itself. So then thank you. We'll conclude there for this morning.